Diamonds are a woodworker's best friend. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now in this video I'm going to be upgrading my Record Power Wg250 whetstone grinder. Now if you've been watching my videos you will have seen me do an unboxing video of this last year. A few months later then I did a full review on it, and you'll know from those videos that I wasn't really impressed with this machine. I do love Record Power tools. I have a bunch of them in the workshop. Some of them are absolutely fantastic, but this one just had too many problems and too many issues to make it a usable tool in my opinion. I was using it every now and again to put an edge on my wood turning tools and to re-grind some bevels on my plane blades. But the stone is not great, the leather strap is not great. I'm not going to get back into that and beat up on this tool again because I have two videos dedicated to that. So if you want to watch them, go back and watch them. You can see my full review. But suffice to say, I had a decision to make. Did I go and buy another machine and just cut my losses with this one, or did I try and upgrade this machine and make it better? And that's what I decided to do. So I've gone and bought a Tormek diamond wheel. Now this is quite an expensive bit of kit for what it is. It's nearly 270 euros. It's a diamond wheel. I'll explain why I bought it, what my thinking behind it was, what I need to use this for, and what the advantages of this for, or what the advantages of one of these are in this video. So like I say, it's a significant investment. However, if this works out and works well, it's still cheaper to buy the two of these together than to buy the actual Tormek machine. So it could actually work out quite well in the finish. And diamond wheels don't wear, they don't lose their radius, or they don't get smaller, they stay flat. I'll get into all that in a minute. But suffice to say, we are upgrading this machine with a diamond wheel. Let's do it. Okay guys, so very quickly, let's take a quick look at what I've got. Now, like I said, this is the diamond wheel from Tormek, the DF250 diamond wheel. This is the fine wheel, so it's available in three different grids, 350, 600 and 1200. This is the 12 or the 600 grid. This is the one they recommend for all around work. It's the one that's most suited to woodworkers. So it will give you a good cutting edge, and it has relatively quick stock removal. So it's ideal for wood turning tools. These do not need a polished edge to cut, unlike your chisels and plane blades. It will set your primary bevel on your chisels, I can't speak, your chisels and plane blades. Then I can hand sharpen, like I demonstrated in a previous video, how I like to hand sharpen to put a polished edge on that. So I can re-cut my primary bevels if my blades ever get damaged, chipped, or if I need to reset the primary bevel. I can absolutely do that with this. I can also do my planer thickness or blades, which is a thing that I really need to do as well. A way of sharpening these larger blades, I can do it on this stone. Now, it comes in the box. It's the wheel itself, and it also comes with anti-corrosion fluid. So you mix in this, so it's about a 10-to-1 mix, 10 parts water, 1 part of the corrosion fluid. The wheel itself is made of steel. It's a weighty enough wheel. It's not solid steel, it's hollow in the middle, and it's plated with nickel. The diamond powder is set into the nickel, so that's why you need to use the corrosion proof or the corrosion inhibitor in the water, because the metal steel particles will get in amongst this and they will cause rust and corrosion on the wheel. So use the inhibitor to extend the life of the wheel. Now, they are extremely long lasting. It's another benefit of this. So it's a big outlay up front, but over the years of use, it will begin to pay for itself. So let's get this on the machine, and I'll take you through some more of the benefits of using one of these wheels. Okay, let's get this wheel changed. Now, if you had watched my previous videos, you will have seen my problems with the wheel that comes with this. It's extremely soft. It loses material extremely quickly, and every time I touched it with my bowl gouge, it left a big hollow in the center of the wheel, which meant it was useless then for using it with my chisels or my plane blades, which meant I had to go and re-flatten it every time I touched it with one of my wood turning gouges. And it took 10 to 15 minutes to try and get this thing flat again. And the tool that it comes with, the flattening tool, is not very good, and it's hard to be accurate. So it was a real pain, and for that reason, I actually stopped using this machine, which is why I still have some of this wheel left. If you were to use this intensely, this wheel wouldn't last you a few months, and you would have to buy a new wheel. And new wheels they're not exactly cheap. Like a Tormek wheel, a diamond wheel for the Tormek is not that much more expensive in the long run than the actual standard Tormek wheel. Now, luckily enough, Tormek stuff happens to fit this machine, which is absolutely fantastic. So there we go, on just like that, and then we have a diamond wheel on our whetstone grinder. So let's get this on, and I'll tell you some more of the advantages of having this diamond wheel. There There we go, reverse thread. Okay, so there's our wheel on. So now, what's some advantages to using this diamond wheel? Well, like I said, it never has to be trued. It's a perfectly flat machined surface, so you never have to use a truing stone. You never have to use the grit changing stone to get it from a coarse grit to a fine grit. It is the grit that it is. It stays like that. It maintains its radius. It never shrinks, and it always stays flat. Now, one issue people have with using water stone grinders or even bench grinders is the fact that you're using a wheel. And if you use a wheel, you will cut the radius into the blade, and that's known as a hollow grind. Some people don't like hollow grinds, but honestly, on a 10-inch wheel, on a surface that's that small, on a plain blade, it is not really an issue. However, if you do have an issue with hollow grinds and you don't want a hollow grind, the beauty of this wheel is you can use the side of it. You have a perfectly flat side here to put a flat grind into your blade if you so choose. However, you will need a jig for that. Tormek do make a jig that sits on the side here for doing your plain blades and your chisels, your knives, your axes, whatever else you want to do. You can actually do it from the side of the stone, which is also a perfectly machined surface, perfectly flat, and it's diamonds on that as well. So that's another major advantage with this. So I know it's a bit of an outlay up front, but the fact that this thing doesn't wear out, at least it takes a very long time for one of these to wear out. And the kind of use that I would put it through, this is going to last me years. So no new stones, I don't have to change any belts. It never changes its shape or its size. It's flat, it's true, and it removes stock supposedly pretty quickly and gives you a good cutting edge. So what we'll do is I'll take this plain blade and we're going to put an edge on it now. We're going to put a primary bevel on this. There's actually multiple bevels on this blade. I'll give you a look at it now in a second. So a couple of things we need to do. We need to mix a small amount of water with the anti-corrosion fluid. We take our time. As they say, the first couple of sharpens on this, it will be a little rough until you bed it in. So we'll take our time with it. We'll do exactly what Tormek recommends. So let's get on and do it. Okay, so the first job I'm going to do is go clean out my water trough. Now, I won't have to do this anymore either. You can see just how much sand comes off that stone. That's just from one use. I sharpened the plain blade in my previous video. I threw it up the stone and I have a good ½ inch of that stone now sitting in the bottom of my water trough. So I'm going to go clean this out. We'll put a bit of water in it and we'll add a bit of the anti-corrosion fluid. But that's another job I don't have to do anymore. Okay, so very quickly, before we start, here's what I'm starting with. So here's my plain blade, and you can see I have, camera, focus, I have multiple bevels on this. You can see, so my secondary bevel is getting quite long on this now, so it's time now to reset the primary bevel so that my secondary bevel is nice and short up on top. Okay, let's get on and do that. Okay, so let's get ready to sharpen. Now I have this machine sat in a plastic box because it loves to leak water absolutely everywhere. I want to keep my bench relatively dry. So I have a small bit of water in the water trough. You don't need to fill it to the high water mark. This stone obviously doesn't absorb any of that water and it only needs a small bit just to keep it cool. Now they do say you can sharpen without water, but they don't recommend you do that. So we're going to use the water, and I've just put in a little drop of the anti-corrosion fluid. So it's 4%. The mix in here, 4% is the anti-corrosion fluid. So nice and simple. Now another beautiful thing about a diamond wheel is the multiple materials that you can sharpen on this. So you can sharpen all your steel types, you can sharpen your ceramics, and you can sharpen carbide on this. That's another real advantage of using a diamond wheel. You don't need different type belts or different type stones. It can all be done on this, which is nice. So let's get this set up now and let's get sharpening. Let's drop that on, get our angle finder. Let's just drop that down a small bit. Now let's get sharpening. I'll get you in for a closer look. Okay, let's get sharpening. Now, another thing they recommend is that it's no more than 150 RPM we use on this, and that's the max of this machine. So actually one nice thing about the Record machine is that you have a variable speed option on the front of it, so you can set it. Now, I'm going to set it to about 125 RPM. Now, they say it sounds a little rough starting off. It takes 2 to 5 sharpenings on this before you bed in the stone, so we'll take it nice and easy. Let's get it going. We'll actually just take it down to 110 RPM and we'll see how we get on. Let's have a look at that. Okay, yeah, that's removing stock pretty quickly. Let's keep going. Another thing they say is light pressure. So I'm barely pushing down on this. Check and see where we are. Okay, we're right out to where our secondary bevel would normally be, so we're going to keep going. Okay, we'll just give that a final check. Okay, that's our primary bevel done now. So that took approximately 3 minutes to grind an entire primary bevel on this. Now this is just a standard Stanley blade, so if that gives you any information, that's what it took. Roughly 3 minutes to cut the entire primary bevel. I'll give you a quick look at the bevel now, and then we'll do the bowl gouge. Okay guys, there you go. There's our primary bevel all cut there now, so you can see the type of grind that you achieve with this. You can still see some striations in that. So this would not be a kind of polished edge that you would use for your plane blades or your chisels, so we will have to put a secondary bevel on this, like I do with my hand sharpening on the scary sharp sharpening system. So that's a nice primary bevel to start with, about 3 minutes, and that works absolutely perfectly well. So it doesn't remove stock extremely quickly, but it does remove it fast enough, so you're not going to scare yourself, you're not going to take a big chunk out of your blade or anything like that. It's not that kind of speed, but yeah, it's still a good, decent, quick stock removal that you can work with. So about 3 minutes to cut a primary bevel. Okay guys, so I'm just setting up for my bowl gouge now. I can use my little cheat block. So I had these made, you would have seen in the original video that I made these. It's just for setting up for all the different gouges and all the different angles, setting the jigs up. Just little cheat blocks. Now, these will remain true with this wheel because I set it up when that wheel was new. That's a 10-inch wheel, but it keeps shrinking. So when you make these, they're only good if the radius is consistent, and now I have a consistent radius. It's another nice little feature. And the beauty about sharpening with water as well is that you never have to worry about heating up that blade, so you're never going to damage the temper on the blade, which is nice. So there we go, that sets that up. Cheat block then for my little jig for my bowl gouge. Line that up to there, and that gives me the correct angle. So now let's sharpen the bowl gouge. Okay, let's put an edge on this. Now I can see that that's removing material pretty quickly. So this is only going to take, 10-20 seconds. And no more. I really don't like this jig. It's quite hard to use, as I demonstrated in a previous video. But it's still just about serviceable. Okay, that's good enough. Okay guys, there's my bowl gouge. You can see I have a nice grind all the way around that now. And that took, about 20 seconds maybe tops. So yeah, that's pretty good. So it removed material pretty quickly from the bowl gouge. So you would really want to watch that. But yeah, that's perfect now for what I need for a bowl gouge. Again, you do not need a polished edge for your wood turning tools. So that's nice and quick and easy to touch up. And again, because we're using water, we don't have to worry about heating or ruining the temper on our cutting edge. So nice. Now, one of the things I never liked about this machine was how much water you lose out of the trough. It runs off the edge of the machine and doesn't get caught again, so that's a lot. But that has my anti-corrosion fluid in it now, so that's why I'm using the basin. And I can reuse this and pour it back in the bottle. So that's not an issue there now. So there we go. A basin is a good idea. Right guys, so there we go. That's just a quick demonstration and a quick video on me upgrading my Record Power Wg250 with the DF250 Tormek medium or fine diamond wheel. Now, I know it's a big outlay, I know it's quite an expensive thing to go for, but when you consider that this machine plus this wheel is cheaper than still cheaper than a T8 Tormek, then it's not, I suppose when you compare it like that, it's not overly expensive. Plus the fact that, that this wheel is going to last for years and years and years. I never have to throw it, I never have to touch it up. I never have to replace it. I'm not replacing paper, I'm not replacing belts, I'm not replacing stone wheels. And like I say, it's consistent, it holds its shape, it holds its diameter, and it stays flat. And the multiple materials that you can sharpen on this, plus I can sharpen my planar thickness or blades. I'm going to upgrade now to the rest of the Tormek jigs and add them to this machine, which I'll show you as I get them, and I'll keep you updated on this wheel. So it may be a good option for you if you're doing a lot of wood turning, if you're doing a lot of hand tool woodworking and you're looking for something to cut a primary bevel. Maybe look at the Record Power, upgrade it to the diamond wheel, or if you have one of these machines already and you're thinking about upgrading the wheel, or maybe you have a Tormek and you want to maybe put a diamond wheel on it because it's a serious upgrade for any one of those machines. You can hollow grind, you can flat grind, you don't have to worry about heat, you have multiple material options, and as you can see, it's roughly 3 minutes to cut a new primary bevel. It's a few seconds to touch up the edge on a bowl gouge, and yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed that guys, hopefully you've got something out of it, hopefully you've got some information. All the links to everything as always will be below in the description. Any comments, any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up if it's been helpful to you, and if you're new here, think about hitting the subscribe button. So that's it guys, the Tormek DF250 fine diamond wheel, upgrading the Record Power tool. That's it for now, I'll see you in the next one.